Uh, I hope it is audible to all and visible. So respond in the chat box or using voice also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So now, so we'll move on to the next module. So the name of the module is semiconductors. So this is the last module we are going to discuss. So that is module 1, and the name of the module is semiconductors. So in that, the first topic we are going to discuss is bonding forces in solids. So we are going to discuss about 4 types of bonding forces in solids. I hope you guys know what is solid, liquid and gaseous state. So here we are only focusing on the solid materials. Okay. So first we will move on to the topic and we will discuss what is the need for the bonding forces in solids. So here I will open the topic now. So the name of the topic is semiconductors. So in that, before beginning with the topic name like bonding forces in solid, first you guys need to know what is electronic configuration or structure, okay, and how it is written for the given atomic number or the electronic structure. So I hope you guys studied about this structure like 1s, then in the next row you will get 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 3d, 4s, 4p, 4d and 4f. I hope you guys studied this in physics. Okay. So here using this concept, we are going to write the electronic configuration for the given material. Like if I take the example like carbon, the atomic number for the carbon in the atomic structure is 6 now. So if the atomic number of the carbon is 6, then we have to write the electronic structure for this. So how it starts? So 6 represents the number of electrons present in that atomic structure. So here in that, so first we will start with the 1s, next we will start with the 2s, then 2p, 3s, then 3p, 4s, then 3d, 4p, 5s. So like this we will write, this is the procedure to write the electronic structure, and I hope you guys remember this. So each orbits, like 1s is the first orbit, 2s is the second orbit, 2p is the third, 3s is the fourth. So I have written this based on this what you have done right now, 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, like this, 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s. Here the first orbit holds 2 electrons, and the second orbit like p holds 3 orbitals, then the third d holds 5 orbitals, and the last is f that holds 7 orbitals. So these are energy levels, okay, and the sub levels for the given electronic structure. Like so s holds 1 orbital, p holds 3 orbital, d holds 5 and f holds 7. So this is a basic, so which you guys need to understand the concept of bonding forces in solid. So if I take carbon is 6, so I have to start writing the electronic structure for the carbon. So in that, first I have to take this one, 1s, which holds 1 orbit, and each orbit contains 2 electrons. So here, so this is a 1s which holds 2 electrons. So one is down arrow mark and one is up arrow mark. These arrow marks denotes that it has 2 electrons. So that's why we have written 1s here with square, because it indicating it has 2 electrons. Next is we have 2s, which is shown here. So for 2s, again s has the 1 orbital with 2 electrons. So I have to write it as 2s square. So this is the next sub-level of orbital s. So therefore I can write it as 2s square. So 4 electrons are covered. Still we are left with the 2 electrons. So it is covered in 2p. So 2p, then 3s. So as I said, p has 3 orbitals and each orbital capable of holding 2 electrons. So total p can hold 6 electrons. So like 1, 2, 3. First down mark, down arrow mark. Next up arrow mark. 4, 5 and 6. So here we need only 2 here. So therefore I have written 2p square. So from this I can say that the carbon, which has an element, has 6 electrons in its orbits. So these 6 electrons can be written in terms of electronic structure as 1 square, 2 square and 2p square. So similarly, if I take another example, so let us take the example for silicon. So silicon has 14 electrons. So the series starts like this: 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, which is written based on this procedure which I have written here. So based on that I can say that, so silicon has 14. So first with 1s square, next I will start with the 2s square, which is written here, 1s square, 2s square. Next is 2p is there. So p is capable of holding 6 electrons. So I have written 2p6. Next again we have 3s. So again s can hold 2 electrons, 3s square. So what I need is 14. So already it covers 10 here. 2 plus 2 plus 6 plus 2. So 10 are completed. Remaining left with 2 only. So therefore these 2 electrons mentioned in the next, that is 3p square. So like this we have written the electronic structure or configuration for silicon as this. So if I have given another one like neon, so neon has 10 electrons, right? So if neon has 10, that is atomic number of neon. So then we can write, so 1s square, 2s square and 2p6, total 10 electrons. This 1s, 2s, 2p selected based on this procedure, and that is written here itself. Okay, so I hope it is clear for everyone. Similarly, if I write Na, that is sodium, which has 11 electrons. For 11 electrons, we have 1s square, 2s square, 2p6 and then 3s1, because 2 plus 2, 4 plus 6, 10. So only left with 1. So that's why 3s1, here it is written as 1 orbital with 2 electrons. In that I need only 1. So here I have written 1 electron. So therefore you can write this as 11 atomic number with 11. So this is electronic configuration. And this is replaced by neon also, because neon has standard 10 atomic number, which is common for this is 1s square, 2s square and 2p6. So because of that, here this first term, that is this 1s square and 2s square and 2p6 is replaced by neon. The last electron is written like 3s1. Similarly, if I take chlorine, so chlorine has 17 atomic number. In that the first 10 is taken from the neon, remaining I have to write. So that is written here, first 1s square, 2s square, 2p6, 3s square, 3p5. Within that we have covered 17 electrons. So that's why this is covered within neon. These two are left, they are written at the end, which indicates this is the electronic structure for the chlorine. So like this we can write the electronic configuration or the structure for the given atom, like carbon or silicon, neon, sodium, chloride or germanium. So whatever the value they have given or the atomic number they have given, we can write the electronic structure. So based on this procedure, and I hope you guys studied this procedure in PUC also. Okay, so I'm just following this, and this is just an introduction part, so that I'm going to use this electronic configuration or structure while discussing in the bonding forces in solid topic. So because of that, I have discussed this one. So remember, the atomic number of sodium is 11. For that, the electronic structure is neon with 3s1. Similarly, the atomic number for the chlorine is 17, and the electronic configuration is neon with 3s square and 3p5. So I hope it is clear for everyone about the electronic structure. If it is clear, just put a message as yes. If you want to repeat that topic, because I am going to use those electronic configuration or the structure to discussing or while discussing the topics. So do it first, everyone. Respond in the chat box. I want all 43 students respond in the chat box so that we can move on to the actual topic now. And especially diploma students. I hope it is clear for diploma students also. So do it fast. I am waiting for everyone's reply. Okay, so now, based on this, I will move on to the actual topic which is in your syllabus. So that is bonding forces in solid. So in that, we are going to study 4 types of bonding. One is ionic bonding, second metallic bonding, third covalent bonding, fourth mixed type bonding. So now here in this topic, what we are going to study that, so to understand how this bonding will affect the flow of current in a particular element or the material which is chosen. Suppose we have 3 types of materials. One is insulator, one is conductor, and one is semiconductor. So based on this bonding, we will categorize them like metals, insulators, and semiconductors. So in this topic, we are going to understand how the bonding plays a role to decide which type of material is this. For example, if it belongs to the ionic bonding, then we can say that the material, if it belongs to the ionic bonding, then it is completely depends or belongs to insulator. If the material belongs to the metallic bonding, then that material is completely belongs to the conductor. And if the material uses covalent bonding, then we can say that that material belongs to the semiconductor. If the material belongs to the mixed type, then we can use it either as a metal or as a semiconductor. So these are the 4 types of bondings which defines what kind of material and on which category that material belongs. So now we will move on to the first bonding, that is ionic bonding. So now what is this ionic bonding? So here in ionic bonding, so I have taken one example called sodium chloride. So sodium chloride has 2 types of material. One is a sodium and the second is a chloride. The combination of this we call it as sodium chloride material. And this sodium chloride uses ionic bonding. So now look at this structure of ionic bonding. Here the shaded portion in this, like this is a shaded portion. This belongs to a sodium and this without a shaded portion or the blank circle belongs to a chlorine. Okay, and here what I shown that each sodium material or the atom covered with 4 or surrounded with 4 chloride materials or atoms like this. If I suppose this is a sodium, okay, this is a sodium material or an atom. This Na atom has surrounded with 4 chlorine atoms, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So actually it has 6 nearest atoms belongs to the chlorine. But in this structure we have shown only 4 nearest chlorine atoms, because another 2 are belonged in, one is in front of this sodium atom and another one is at the bottom of this sodium atom. So that cannot be shown in the 2D image. It can be displayed in the 3D image. So because of that, so here we have shown only 4 chlorine surrounded atoms to the 4 chlorine surrounded atoms to the sodium. Similarly for chlorine we have shown, if I take this is a chlorine atom, Cl atom, it has surrounded with 4 sodium atoms. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Again this chlorine also has 6 nearest sodium atoms. But here because of 2D image we have shown only 4 sodium atoms. So now we will assume that it has 6 nearest sodium atoms for chlorine and 6 nearest chlorine atoms for sodium. So now, so this is the actual bonding of sodium and chloride. So now as I said that, so in this NaCl lattice, you can also call it as lattice structure, the Na atom gives up one outer shell electron, okay, and exchange that Na atom becomes Na plus ion. So if I take this is Na atom, so this Na atom, so it will outshell means it will release one electron. So that electron, okay, so will be exchanged with the chlorine atom. So that's why sodium will always act as a giver, that is it will outshell to the chlorine, and chlorine will always act as an acceptor. So due to this, so now there are no free electrons in this lattice structure. So because of there is no free electrons in this structure, now there is no possibility of the movement of electrons in this bonding. I hope it is clear for everyone. What I am saying is that if, I hope which is shown here, for sodium we have 11 electrons, in that only one electron is free. Okay, this is 3s1. So this electron is accepted by the chlorine, because so chlorine total has 17 electrons with that 3p5, where p is capable of holding 6 electrons. So one electron released by the sodium will be placed in the orbit of p. So then it becomes plus 1 and it becomes 6, because p has 3 orbitals, each orbital capable of storing 2 electrons. So total it is capable of holding 6 electrons. When this sodium releases 1 electron, okay, this sodium releases 1 electron, that electron will be accepted by this chlorine. So thereby it completes the free electrons in the bonding. So because of this, now it has no free electrons, so that it can mix the flow of current when there is a external source or external energy applied to the material. So because of this, now I can say that, so for this electronic structure there is no participation of electron flow. Therefore, sodium chloride acts as an insulator. I hope it is clear for everyone. So what it does, because sodium releases one electron from its electronic configuration, that released electron will be accepted by the chlorine atom. Because of this, there is no free electrons present in this bond. When there is no free electrons in this bonding, it means that now there are no free electrons. When there are no free electrons, there is no possibility of the movement of current or the flow of current. Because of this, now I can say that sodium chloride acts as a good insulator. Okay, so like this, ionic bonding is preferred for the insulator. So this is the same explanation which is given here. It is little bit blurred, but it can be visible. So just go through these notes to understand what I explained. Next is, this is metallic bonding. Okay, so now when it comes to the metallic bond, so again we have taken sodium atom. As I said, sodium atom has only one free valency electron, that is 3s1, because as I said, in this electronic configuration, sodium has 11 electrons. In that, the 10 electrons are already bonded with the neon atom. Only one electron is free at its outer orbit. So this electron plays a very important role in the cause of current. So because of this, now here we have done the bonding only using sodium atom, that is Na atom. So as I now know that when Na atom is bonded with metallic, then it is capable of releasing one electron. So like this, if I choose a million number of sodium atoms in one bonding, then it is capable of releasing millions of electrons in that bonding. And those millions of electrons are now capable of causing the current flows through the metal. So therefore, we can say that only Na atom can be used to form solid using metallic bonding, and this sodium can be utilized as a metal or act as a good conductor of electricity or a good conductor for the flow of electrons. So this is the role of metallic bonding if I choose sodium, Na plus. Like this, we can also choose metals like iron, aluminium. So all these are good conductors because they have a free valency electrons in their outer shell. So the same explanation is given. A little bit blur is there. So just concentrate. You will understand this one. Only these few pages are blurred. Remaining they are good in clarity. The last is a covalent bonding. So covalent bonding. We will do one thing. This covalent bonding we will discuss in the next session, because again I have got some work. I hope it is clear for everyone about metallic bonding and covalent, ionic bonding and the electronic configuration. Okay. Tomorrow also I will schedule the class from 4 to 5. Okay. Tomorrow we will cover up more topics. Hope it is clear for everyone about ionic bonding and metallic bonding. If yes, respond in the chat box as yes. If not, tell me whatever the doubts here, so I will clarify that one. So respond fast so that we can wind up the class. Do it fast. Okay, fine. So if there is no doubts, so we will end up the class. I'm expecting everyone to put your USN number or name for the attendance. Do it fast.